And obviously in the NFL, that's a 15-yard taunting penalty every day of the week, don't you? Because you see that in the NFL. Making a break, there's a 15... So there's some kind of punishment for it, although it's a minor indiscretion punishment. So there's nothing really you can do about it. And actually, I thought Kendall did rather well. He went and talked to him and said, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Which is the right way to do it, because he didn't have actually any power. He couldn't disallow the try. He couldn't do anything like that. There's no... there's nothing you can do.
Let's do a Rod stud here and throw out a ludicrous suggestion that in 2 years' time everyone will be starting to mull over as a realistic suggestion. What about if you taunt on the way to scoring a try, you don't get a conversion attempt?
There you go. We'll call that a stud moment. But no, I have to say, so I kind of saw the first half as well.
Yeah.
So what really surprised me actually about FC was it took them, in my opinion, way too long to adjust to the fact that they didn't have a defender on that side. So Min's 2 tries, and indeed straight away they kicked a ball wide. Sneyd kicked a ball wide to kind of, a wide kick, expecting a winger to be there. There was nobody there,
They put the wrong man in that gap. Surely Danny Washbrook off the bench should have sat in that sort of centre come second row position over Jordan Lane, who's very inexperienced and purely a forward, whereas at least Washbrook has played everywhere and is very experienced.
I mean, obviously, your choice defensively is you could potentially put Shaw at the edge, couldn't you, and play without a sweeper at the back.
The difficulty is that's Albert Kelly's side, and Albert Kelly can't tackle anyway.
No. But I mean, it certainly cost him 2 tries before they started to get on top of it. And to be honest, the flow of the game slightly changed to bring Hull back into it. But yeah, you can't argue that they performed better. They were the better side at the end of the day, and perhaps if they'd adjusted a bit quicker, it might not have. It might have been even easier than it was, really.
Well, I thought Hull SC thoroughly deserved it. I thought Rovers did not take anywhere near good enough advantage, even though they scored those few tries.
Yeah, they scored literally where the gap was.
Yeah,
but once FC adjusted to that and readjusted their defensive positions, they were struggling.
They weren't pulling people out of position.
No.
After that point,
moving the ball backwards and forwards. I mean, I thought Quinlan was good, but yeah, it was FC well deserved the win.
So in terms of the stats, this game had the second least total carries and total meters of any game this season. Probably because of all the argy-bargy that took time off the clock. Despite the home side slightly edging both numbers, as well as winning breaks 9-6, they were unable to take advantage of their opportunities and the extra man. They also gave away a couple fewer penalties, but made a couple more errors than their cross-city rivals who went home with the points. So it really was not taking advantage of the chances they made. One of the sort of obvious ones was there was a couple of forward passes. There was a try that there was a clear forward pass. I think it was Minns' second.
The one where Carney passed inside.
Yeah, that was missed. But then there was one for Ryan Shaw where it was picked up, and that was a classic example. Ryan Shaw would have scored if the ball had gone. Even if it had gone behind him, he could have gathered it in and still scored. And that was them missing their opportunities. And then, like you say, after half time, there was a bit of an adjustment made.
I mean, forward passes are particularly ones like that. They're tricky. They're very, very subjective. There's a reason they don't go to the screen for them. They're incredibly difficult to call, and we get sometimes misleading camera angles. I think the Carney one was forward, but all I'm saying is that to kind of over rely on kind of that was a forward pass, that was back.
I think the point is that the fact that it was they scored off it, but it still wasn't great execution, showed that the Robins were just not executing the plays as well as they should have been doing in those circumstances. With the extra space they had, even with the extra breaks they were starting to make, they didn't convert them into enough points.
I mean, there was I thought Carney was particularly poor. I mean, obviously he had that chance out wide, didn't he? Where he didn't really get down to it, did he? He didn't seem committed to it. And
the kick that just completely eluded him.
And he looks to be carrying way too much timber. I mean, he was always big, but
I don't think is a necessary. He's going to get in the stats roundup though. Danny Houghton with a try, 45 tackles, 11 mark tackles, was back to proper mate for his one Easter appearance. Josh Griffin, 146 metres. Carlos Tumavavi, who won rave reports and was a lot of people's man of the match in this one. 1 try assist, 137 metres, and a really elusive runner. Jamie Shaw with 1 try and 2 try assists. I thought he was personally, I thought the best player, the most threatening player. Man of the match actually went to this man on the losing side, Thomas Mins, for his hat-trick of tries, 103 metres, 2 clean breaks. Maurice Blair had a try assist in 113 metres. Lee Jewett got himself about, got stuck in and got involved, 136 metres for him. Justin Carney with 2 try assists, 8 tackle busts, 105 metres, 3 clean breaks, but still probably not quite enough end product, given what we would have expected there. So we move on to the game that we probably know the least about over the whole Easter weekend, I would suggest, and that is the first game that kicked off on the Friday, and it was Salford Red Devils 32, Catalan Dragons 16, in front of 2,328. Gareth Hewer was the referee, not a stranger to the Catalan Dragons, but maybe a stranger to the reign of Salford. I assume it was raining at some point in this game. The reign of Salford. We only had one fan view in on this one.
So returning to an earlier theme, Malkama Tios says, Kit Karma, even greyer than ever. Don't give the coach a parachute on the trip back.
Now, one thing I would say about this game is...
I literally have nothing to say about this game.
Well, it had one of the best tries of the weekend, if not the best try of the weekend. Greg Johnson's try. The build-up was absolute quality, and loads of the players multiple players was involved. I think Ben Nakubawai started it off with a bit of an offload in the middle of the field. He had runners everywhere. It got spread wide to Johnson, who had so much space that he could come in almost round under the sticks. It was a really good try to watch, that one. So that's the thing that I know the most about, to be honest. It looked like there was a bit of niggle in it. There was a couple of Catalan players went off with concussion. They must have been able to return because both played on Monday afternoon's game. But it looks like there was a bit of niggle there. Haraki taking a sin bin in, so I'll need to make sure I've got that marked up on my stats. I think he is a bit of a niggly player, Haraki, I've got to say. But it was all Salford. All the reviews I've read have all listed all Salford as the players who were the best in this one. Couple of the tries that Catalan scored were kind of breakaway, interception-y type stuff, or the game was already won kind of tries as well.
Yeah.
Greg Bird worked hard for his try, but the game was already won. Probably Salford had kind of taken the foot off the pedal a bit there. You probably would do with a 20-odd point advantage with 5-10 minutes left in a game when you've got to play another game a couple of days later. So, and you say you got nothing to add?
Nothing to say on this one other than just a slight comment on the crowd. I mean, I know it becomes a bit of a running joke about this, but obviously, the Easter period tends to be a game most people can usually get to a game.
Yeah.
Is this the number of fans now at Salford? Is it 2,300? Is that it? Are those the numbers? Because that's dangerous and depressing and doesn't speak well for their future.
And do you know what? And we've been able to say this about Salford for 3 years now. Their home form is really good. It's really good. So they've lost at home to Wigan, but I think they've won their other home games. I think all 3 of the wins have been home wins. Right. And I just think... let me just double check. Third straight league victory on home soil. There you go. So I think you're going to see the best of Salford at home. Go and watch them if you're a fan. It's a lot easier to get there now as well with the way the road layouts have been changed and that sort of thing. You can get in from another angle as well now, and get down there. I know we're preaching to the converted if anyone is already listening. That's the problem. But I hope that's not the base support, and I hope it does increase. But it's worrying times. In the stats, Salford won on all the key stats other than average gain, so were worthy winners. Of specific note were their 8-11 error win and 7-12 penalty win. So much more disciplined with and without the ball for the Salford side. Individually, Nia Levels, a try, 2 try assists, 5 tackle busts and 132 metres. He is exceptional from fullback on home field and a great player to watch when he's in good form. Josh Jones with a try, 5 tackle busts, 101 metres. Craig Kopchak, 128 metres. And Jake Bibby with a try, 5 tackle busts, 2 clean breaks. For the losing Catalan side, there were still some outstanding individual performances. Fuad Yaha, 2 tries, one of those was a breakaway effort, I think, 171 metres. Jody Broughton against one of his old clubs, 6 tackle busts, 159 metres, so he did well returning kicks, you would suggest. Jason Battieri worked hard, 46 tackles, 13 marquee tackles, and Julian Bousquet, one of our favourites, 126 metres, 3 successful offloads, so in tricky conditions, in a poor side, are still a few decent, exciting performers there. We move on to the Cheshire Derby. Warrington 32, Widnes 18 was the final score, although Widnes were 12-10 ahead at half-time at the Halliwell Jones in front of 12,175. Liam Moore was your referee for this one. Do you want to take it, start on the fan views?
I will. So Wire Joe said it was an end-to-end game in the first half, but it looked like we had underestimated Widnes when we were unable to convert pressure into points and went into the sheds behind. But like last week, a quick try after the break gave us the kick up the arse we needed, and we ended up with just too much for the Smellies to handle. We'll have to go up a couple of gears to compete with Cass on Monday, but half the job done. Very good.
Lee Whitnell said, the script for these Good Friday games against Widnes are always the same. Widnes start well, get into a lead, but we find a way to win. This year we found that if you actually pass to your new international winger, he might score. It took until the second half, but when we got there in the end, it was a real thrill to see Charnley using his strength and finishing skills for us rather than breaking my heart in cherry and white.
Nice one. So Neil McEwen says, great start by Widnes going 10-0 up and then totally collapsed. Bet's tactics got to be questioned. Team don't rush up against team. I think is it teams. Teams don't rush up in opposition faces. We come forward 2 to 3 metres, then let them come to us, which gives them some momentum. Short on props in last few weeks, and still hasn't selected Stanton Albert. Yes, Bet's working under the cap, but so is Wakey, and theirs is a far better squad.
Yeah, I think Stanton is injured, but he went on loan to North Wales, and I don't know if he's even playing at them. We can certainly fact check that later on. Mike Dodd at Mike Dodd 22 said, Wire spent the first 12 minutes camped on the Widnes line, but it was the away side that scored on their first foray into the Wire 30. Some more slack defence let Widnes in again, but 2 clever kicks from Kev Brown confused the Widnes defence and put Toby King in twice to level. The second half was all Wire, with Charnley bowled over twice, Aquala scoring his first for the club, and SBW sending the crowd wild.
You trying to work out who SBW is?
Yeah. Super Benny Westwood. Oh, fucking hell. That makes me sick.
Oh, well.
Okay. No, good one, Mac. Yeah, I mean, we've seen the highlights of this one, and that's all I've seen. Toby King.
One of your favourites.
They picked out on the Super League show that in the first half he was coming in a lot and not using Charnley, and obviously they addressed that at half time and he got Charnley early ball for Charnley's first try. It worked really well with Charnley for his second try, and worked really well with Charnley on Monday, which we'll get to for his try there. I really like Toby King. I think he's a super talented player. I think long live Toby King in terms of keeping Ryan Atkins out of that side. Because I'm just desperate for Atkins not to go further up the try scoring charts now after hearing that was his main motivation this season. And, you know, the fact that we know he celebrates tries he doesn't score. But back to the people that were playing and were important in this one. It does sound like Ben Westwood did have a good game, and then he managed to polish it off with a try, didn't he, at the end, before Reece Hanbury grabbed a consolation try for both Widnes and for my dream team, which is always important when that sort of thing happens late in a game that you're not really emotionally involved in. But yeah, the one thing to say, though, about the Charnley thing is his side conceded 2 close in the corner tries early on in the first half, didn't they, to Ed Chamberlain? So there's some work for Charnley to do to get reacclimatised, maybe.
I mean, you'd kind of expect that. I mean, yeah, he's used to being kind of stood on the wing with not a lot to do, hasn't he? So to actually get a bit of ball and to kind of just to get reacquainted, because although it is obviously the most similar position in terms